details of a forensic audit. What's being flagged about spending at the FSIN. Taking aim at Ottawa's gun buyback program, will the new initiative prove to be difficult to enforce? And paving the way for the Broadway Bridge to reopen. Is the project on budget and on time?
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin with the finances at the FSIN. The federal government has released its findings into a forensic audit that's flagged more than $30 million of spending from the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations. Keenan Sorokon has more on the next steps.
The federal government is out with its recommendations after the FSIN had more than $34 million in spending flagged over a 5-year period. Most recommendations surround how money flows to First Nations, asking the FSIN to get budgets and make sure funding is meeting the needs of those requesting it. Other recommendations include more reporting, invoicing, and documenting when there's variances.
An elder shared with me that it's got to get to the worst, very worst situation before things will get better. And I believe that's honestly, we're pretty close to that status now.
Former Flying Dust First Nation Chief Bob Morasti says the FSIN needs to change the status quo to avoid further allegations in the future.
Our people are kind of sick with this. They're tired of this. And we need to clean house.
The 11-page report flagged raises to the executive, pay to a former employee, and fleet vehicles. The entire executive bought new fleet vehicles above the approved amount twice in just over a year and a half, part of $1.3 million of vehicle purchases over the period. Chief Bobby Cameron received a $60,000 pay bump in 2020, along with $40,000 to vice chiefs, but the audit couldn't determine if that included retroactive back pay, so there could be nearly $150,000 in overpayment. The FSIN hasn't responded to multiple requests from CTV, and Morasti says he doesn't know anyone that's heard from them recently.
The lack of response from them honestly is perceived as admission of guilt.
More than $23 million of questionable spending meant for COVID-19 funding was flagged, and Morasti says FSIN needs to shore up its own policies and review legislation to prevent further damage. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan police chiefs have more questions than answers when it comes to the federal government's gun buyback program and how it will be enforced. CTV's Laura Woodward has the story.
As the federal government moves ahead with its ban of more than 2,000 assault-style firearms, Prince Albert Police Chief Patrick Noget, who also heads the province's Police Chiefs Association, is questioning how enforcement will work.
Is there going to be an expectation for police to show up at a doorstep if provided with a list of individual that is in possession of one of these firearms?
The buyback program for the outlawed guns is starting with a 6-week pilot project in Nova Scotia before rolling out nationwide later this fall. Owners will be contacted with instructions to either turn their guns over to local police after scheduling a time online or keep them by proving the gun has been deactivated.
And if this is another added layer of expectation with respect to policing resources, what's going to have the impact? What's going to fall off the table if there's an expectation that we're being dedicated towards this sort of thing?
In his 33 years on the job, Noget says he's seen more crimes involving guns, most illegally owned.
Guns are being smuggled from across border. So the U.S. pipeline remains a consistent source of guns.
Statistics Canada says in 91% of shooting homicides, the accused did not have a valid firearms license.
We're targeting the wrong individuals. I mean, we're targeting law-abiding gun owners and taking firearms away from them and spending a lot of money to do it. And at the same time, they're not the problem.
The federal government says the ban is part of its commitment to tackling gun violence. But Saskatchewan's Firearms Commissioner says the focus should be on tightening borders.
We need to redirect our effort toward border security, mental health, domestic violence, crime, smuggling. The list goes on and on.
Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon's largest construction project of 2025 is nearing completion. The city says the Broadway Bridge is on track to reopen before the end of October. CTV's Stacey Hine has the latest on the project.
Crews continue work on the Broadway Bridge, which has been closed nearly 5 months for major repairs. Before the closure, about 20,000 vehicles and many pedestrians crossed the bridge daily. Now both have been detouring, and some businesses on Broadway say it's taken a toll.
Having the bridge closed for several months has been a significant deterrent to get here, and we have seen that in terms of the amount of people coming to the store and also resulting in lower sales as well.
But not every business has seen a big impact.
We have the best customers in the world, and they just find a way to get here. So honestly, I think we're maybe down 5%, which is very minimal.
I work 1 day a week here at Hudson. My perception over the summer working, the bridge being closed, I don't think made a lot of difference in comparison to other summers.
The city says the 93-year-old bridge is on track to reopen before the end of October. Demolition work is complete, and new concrete barriers and expansion joints have been installed. Crews are now installing railings, preparing the deck for new waterproofing and asphalt, and repairing the arches and piers below. The project is expected to cost $15.5 million. The city says it's on budget, with costs lower than original estimates due to competitive tendering. Work under the bridge will continue past October, but the city says that won't affect traffic once it reopens. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Well, Jeff, we're having some pretty cool mornings, but very warm days.
Pretty cool, yes. It was cold this morning. Let's be absolutely clear. But yes, the days have been pretty mild by late September standards, without question, and it's going to stay that way now. A little bit of fly in the ointment in some respects is this system that's moving in from BC and Alberta. It's going to bring some rain to northern areas. Central and southern Saskatchewan doesn't look like it's going to be too rainy, but it's gonna be windy, and we'll talk all about that later on.
Saskatchewan RCMP have released a list of its most wanted persons. These are offenders with active warrants who were last known to be living in Saskatchewan. RCMP have chosen these names based on a review of current criminal charges and the potential harm that offenders may present to communities in Saskatchewan. RCMP say this is not a complete list. It's chosen based on a data-driven scoring system using the Crime Severity Index. 8 offenders that appear on this list previously have been arrested in the last month. Anyone with information is asked to contact RCMP. The city of Warman is urging residents to be careful after a bat carrying rabies was identified in the city. The city says a bat was found dead in a backyard over the weekend. Testing confirmed it had rabies. Officials don't believe there are more cases, but it's advising people if they see a bat during daylight hours to keep their distance and contact animal control immediately. It's also urging pet owners and parents of young children to be extra cautious. Bats are typically nocturnal, so seeing a bat active during the day can indicate it's sick. Any direct contact with a bat can be a risk for rabies transmission, which can be deadly. The city of Prince Albert is hoping to breathe new life into its Steuart Arena. It's hoping local teams could take advantage of the facility. Jasmine Pelche explains.
The future of the Steuart Arena may soon be decided. The recommendation to reissue a request for expressions of interest was put forward by the city's Parks and Recreation Department. City Councillor Dan Brown was the only one to vote against reissuing the expression of interest, saying that the hockey community needs the extra ice surface.
And then minor hockey can use it instead of the natural ice rinks. Like, they're so unreliable. We could bring in so much more revenue with the city if the minor hockey teams had ice open and available to host tournaments earlier in the season.
Prince Albert will have one more ice surface this season due to the twin rinks at the Lake Country Co-op Leisure Centre, but Brown says that this may not be enough to support demand.
As a minor hockey group in a hockey city, we're renting out ice at Buckland, at St. Louis, at Birch Hills. I don't know if people are still going out to Meath Park or not, but there's so much money and travel time on the roads in the winter, and we should be keeping that artificial ice in the city.
A request for expressions of interest was in place earlier this year, but was canceled when the arena was brought up as a possible temporary shelter location. At Monday's Executive Committee meeting, Parks and Recreation Director Jody Boulay said that the first request for expressions of interest was closed prematurely and didn't allow enough time for all interested organizations to submit. The city says some organizations have already brought up interest in the future of the arena. Whatever the fate of the building, if it stays in use, the old roof will need to be repaired. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
As more producers close in on the end of harvest, one Saskatchewan farmer recently saved 4 combines from the junkyard and got them back in the fields. Mick Favel takes us there.
They just don't make them like they used to, at least according to Mark Brodner. 4 classic combines brought back to life and working the land once again.
All 4 of these machines are, I guess, barn finds, as you call them. They've all needed some sort of restoration, whether it's seized engines, transmissions, and I get them back in the field working condition.
Brodner's love for combines and restoration goes back many years. He plans to get one of each brand. It's a hobby that has rubbed off on his wife and children.
At the end of the day, you have to have more than just work and everyday life. You have to enjoy something, and life is too short not to have a hobby that you enjoy and can share with friends and family. So between the combines and old tractors and old trucks, it's something that we can do as a family and enjoy as a family.
One of the machines was once owned by a local farmer. His daughter remembers the combine coming home for the first time.
My dad would have been so pleased to have it resurrected. And my husband Brian is driving it. He came over and he says, I don't know if I remember how to drive this thing. And obviously he remembers because he's still out there.
These harvesters all range from 65 to 75 years old. They run on gasoline and can reach up to speeds of 2 miles, not kilometers an hour. They require a pickup truck to unload because their spout is built too low for modern methods. Despite this, they are a reminder of the generations before who used what they had and were thankful for such technology.
The new combines now are all GPS, computer-controlled sensors, yield monitors. These ones, you just drive by sound. If it sounds like it's working, you better slow down or you're going to be pulling it out.
Proving that with the proper care and attention, almost anything can stand the test of time. Mick Favel, CTV News, near Dysart.
Hundreds of children filled downtown Saskatoon earlier today. About 500 elementary students from Saskatoon Public Schools had a day of learning. 21st Street East between 3rd and 4th Avenues was closed to allow the kids to take part in literacy activities, which included reading and other interactive fun. The free event aims to provide children with some early learning supports.
It's a way for them to enjoy literacy in a playful way and learn things about Saskatoon and some of the different organizations that we have in the city.
The all-day street fair saw several organizations take part and sponsor the day. TeleMiracle will celebrate 50 years next year, and the producers behind it are looking for local talent to be part of the telethon. You can sign up to audition until October 17th with in-person auditions taking place November 1st in Regina at the Kinsman Clubhouse and November 2nd in Saskatoon at the Kinsman Foundation. Performers can also submit a video audition online. Kinsman TeleMiracle is set for February 28th to March 1st in Saskatoon. The 20-hour telethon raises money for the Kinsman Foundation, which then helps to support Saskatchewan residents in need of help with medical equipment and travel. Still to come on CTV News, Canada Post workers now on strike. It comes as significant changes are coming to Canadians' mail service. Also, a Canadian is dead following a trip south of the border. What officials are saying about this deadly shooting. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Now to the latest on Canada Post. Just hours after the federal government demanded reforms, the union representing workers declared a nationwide strike. Postal workers at Saskatoon's facility on 51st Street were out picketing this afternoon. CUPW says the labor action is in response to what it calls the government's attack on the postal service and workers. Rachel Aiello now on the changes Ottawa has instructed the Crown Corporation to start to transform how it operates.
We learned today that Canada Post is effectively insolvent, and the situation facing an institution generations of Canadians have relied on is unsustainable. So the government is forcing immediate changes to mail delivery to try and save money. How often Canadians' mail is delivered is changing. Today, the federal government directed Canada Post to end door-to-door delivery, lifting the decade-old moratorium on community mailbox conversions.
But I want to be clear. Canada Post has an obligation to serve all Canadians in every community in Canada, and that will not change.
While 3/4 of Canadians already receive mail in a communal location, within the next 9 years, the remaining 4 million addresses will stop seeing mail carriers at their door.
Canada Post will inform Canadians as they go.
Citing reduced demand, Canada Post is also being told to lower its letter mail delivery standard, meaning instead of it taking between 2 and 4 days for small deliveries, it could take up to 7. And changes are also coming to rural post office operations, as recently recommended by an industrial inquiry.
These measures will help stabilize Canada Post's financial situation by generating close to $500 million per year.
Since 2018, Canada Post has lost more than $5 billion and is on track to lose close to $1.5 billion more this year. The government says while it is removing barriers to reform, the corporation also needs to reduce costs and review its management structure. In a statement, Canada Post said it welcomes the changes and vowed to work with urgency to implement them. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
There is still hope that a boy missing in Alberta's Crow's Nest Pass is still alive. Darius McDougall, who is now 6 years old, disappeared while walking with family near a campground on Sunday. RCMP say a full-scale search continues. An environmental expert from Lethbridge Polytechnic tells CTV News that if Darius found water and some shelter and temperatures do not dip too much, there is a chance of surviving 5 days. Searchers have been playing one of Darius's favorite songs in the area in hopes he will respond. At a time when there is constant reporting on the mass shootings and killings in the U.S., a death close to home. A Canadian man from Stouffville, Ontario, living in Pennsylvania, was gunned down while on a golf trip to Wisconsin. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has more on how his family is coping.
5 weeks ago, Mike Robinson and his wife Rachel welcomed their first child, a baby girl named Farah, into the world. On Wednesday, the 32-year-old father experienced another lifetime event, sinking his first hole-in-one at a Wisconsin golf course he dreamed of playing at with friends and family. One of his first phone calls after draining the shot was to his brother Jacob back in Canada.
That phone call is just, it's playing in my head.
Mikey! Mikey! A few short hours later, Robinson was murdered.
A subject who was shot and is not conscious, not breathing.
It's the worst phone call I've ever had yet. It brought me to my knees.
Robinson had just wrapped up dinner with some of those he'd golfed with that day. His family believe he was walking to his hotel in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin, when the young father was shot. Police believe a suspect was driving a small, dark-colored SUV.
My brother was one of a kind, and he touched a lot of people's hearts.
Speaking to CTV News from Pearson International Airport, on his way to bring home his brother's body, Jacob Robinson wants Canadians to know his brother's life story.
He was my best man, and I always joked around that, yeah, he was my little brother, but he was my big brother to me. I looked up to him in every aspect of life, and he was a true gentleman.
Robinson, a skilled hockey player, was drafted into the OHL, played in the ECHL and in Europe, and was now living in Pennsylvania, where he worked for a golf company. Robinson was scheduled to fly back to Canada next week for his sister's wedding, which is now being postponed.
My sister's wedding is going to be now my brother's funeral.
Jacob has now assumed the responsibility of keeping Mike's memory alive for his young daughter, Farah.
He loved her so much, and he loved his family.
Mike Robinson's immediate family have all arrived in the U.S. His father says they're expecting autopsy results tomorrow morning. They want to thank Canadians across the country for their prayers and their support. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Stouffville, Ontario.
Just weeks ahead of the fall federal budget, the Parliamentary Budget Officer is projecting that Ottawa's annual deficit is expected to balloon to $68.5 billion this year. CTV's Abigail Beeman digs deeper into the implications and what it means for you.
The Parliamentary Budget Officer briefs a committee of MPs on his new economic and fiscal outlook.
I think everybody should be concerned. It's a really serious day.
The report projects a sharp hike to the annual deficit from $51.7 billion last year to $68.5 billion this year.
All of which will add to the cost of living for Canadians. Why is it? How is it possible that any prime minister could have been more expensive than Trudeau?
A large part of that is in response to what has happened, not by choice, but we had to be there for workers. If you're in the auto sector, the steel industry, in the forestry industry, you expect your government to be there.
The report includes $115 billion in announced new spending, but notably does not include the Prime Minister's commitment to hit the NATO target of 5% of defense spending by 2035, or any of the government's spending review that's expected to hit 15% in cuts by 2029.
I think the government is in a bind right now trying to deal with this trade war and the effects on the economy.
Still so many question marks around both spending and cuts unaccounted for in this update, with the budget and potential answers still 6 weeks away. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mark Carney will be in the UK for the next few days. The Prime Minister left today for London, where he will meet with Keir Starmer. It will be Carney's second official visit as Prime Minister and his third one-on-one meeting with his UK counterpart. The PM will also have discussions with the leaders of Iceland, Australia, Spain, and Denmark. Carney has been stressing the need to build stronger international relations amid an effort to reduce Canada's reliance on the U.S. for trade. Well, Jeff, we've been talking about the nice weather. Tomorrow's a little bit of a dip, though.
A little bit of a dip, and we've got ourselves some showers in many parts of the province, windy conditions. Temperatures are going to drop off a little bit, still above seasonal, but the good news is we bounce back as we head into the weekend and the early part of next week. So all in all, it's a fairly favorable forecast. Fairly favorable forecast. All right, alliteration. Booyah! And if not even Friday, 19 degrees in Saskatoon right now, 18 in Prince Albert, the same in the Battlefords. And the winds right now aren't too bad in PA and the Battlefords, but a little breezier in Saskatoon. Tomorrow, a lot breezier. All right, let's take a look at Saskatoon's almanac for today. 20 degrees, once again, above seasonal temperatures. Typically, we should be around 16 degrees. The record warm temperature from 2001, 33 degrees, and the record cold, -8 from 1928. And the sun's going to go down before 7. I know. We'll talk about all of this later.
Coming up, going the distance to battle against cancer, who a group of Saskatchewan first responders had in mind when they ran the Queen City Marathon.
Recognizing Saskatchewan's dedicated volunteers. Friday on Your Morning, how you can nominate an outstanding citizen for this year's Saskatchewan Order of Merit.
Time to take a look through the live lens of Skycam, and it might be a different story tomorrow. It will be a different story tomorrow, I suspect, although the clouds might break up late in the afternoon. We'll see. We are taking a look right now at a similar sky that we've had for the last little while, a little bit of cloud on the horizon, but all in all, a blue sky. Let's take a look at the reasons why that is. Well, there's a big high-pressure area still in place. Now, cold front went through, and then the high pressure built in behind it. We had some cooler temperatures, and the high pressure also helped to instigate these windy conditions that we are going to be dealing with tomorrow in particular. Keeping our eye on some of this moisture from BC and Alberta making its way into mainly northern parts of Saskatchewan, but it's not exclusively a northern situation. 19 degrees in Saskatoon, 18 in Prince Albert and the Battlefords at the moment. The hot spot in the province, Leader at 26 degrees today. North Battleford, the cold spot at -3. Around the province we go. Currently it is 18 degrees in Lloydminster and Regina, 22 in Swift Current, 20 in Moose Jaw, 17 in Estevan, and 16 in in Yorkton. Into central parts of the province, taking a look around, you can see temperatures ranging from 15 degrees in Waskesiu up to 22 in Kindersley. It's 17 in Wynyard, 18 in Watrous, 16 in Meadow Lake and Hudson Bay, 15 in Stony Rapids, 17 in La Ronge, 16 in Buffalo Narrows, 15 as well in Sandy Bay, Island Falls. And down south, temperatures are really warm around Leader, where it's 26 degrees, 24 in Maple Creek. But as we slide over towards the eastern side of the province, temperatures do drop off. It's just 16 degrees right now in Melville and Broadview. On to our futurecast. Well, here's what I'm talking about. You can certainly see this north-south line of showers, and it's mostly active and intensifying as it makes its way into, I'll say, northwestern Saskatchewan as we make our way to the next 24 hours. And then eventually it really hammers Manitoba. And those pressure lines, those white lines on your screen, they do get close together, and that means that we are expecting some windy conditions. So 14 degrees for La Ronge and Stony Rapids, 16 in Buffalo Narrows, Key Lake, and 13, but we're expecting some showers in Stony Rapids and Key Lake. Expecting rain in Spiritwood, 16 degrees, 16 as well in Meadow Lake, 19 for Kindersley and Rosetown. Windy conditions expected in Outlook and Swift Current, 19 degrees in Outlook, 18 in Swift Current, 19 in both Maple Creek and Leader as well. We're looking at 19 in Yorkton and Regina, 20 in Moose Jaw, 21 in Estevan. We're looking at wind being the dominant feature there. That's certainly true of Melfort and Watrous tomorrow. Humboldt and Hudson Bay, it'll still be breezy, but not quite as windy. And east central Saskatchewan expecting temperatures in and around the 17-degree mark. 8 degrees for the Battlefords overnight with a chance of showers and windy conditions, mainly cloudy skies and staying windy on Friday. 21 on Saturday, 20 on Sunday, 23 on Monday, and the same for Tuesday, which is, of course, National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Increasing clouds for Prince Albert overnight, 17 with a good chance of showers and windy conditions on Friday. 21 on Saturday and Sunday, 22 to start the work week, and on Tuesday, 24 degrees. And finally for Saskatoon, an overnight temperature of 8 degrees under clear skies. 18 tomorrow with northwesterly winds gusting to 60 kilometers an hour. Mainly cloudy skies, but yes, it'll be quite windy tomorrow. And then 22 on Saturday, sunny, and 22 on Sunday, which is about 7 degrees above seasonal. 25 to start the work week, and on Tuesday, National Truth and Reconciliation Day, mainly cloudy skies and 26 degrees.
The fact is, I didn't have much more experience of it than you. In fact, this is the first open university work that I've done. Great. I am going with the beginner.
Educating Rita is the latest offering from Persephone Theatre. This comedy with a social conscience runs until Sunday, October 5th. This is just a small example of what you can see at the Different Strokes Art and Craft Show and Sale Saturday and Sunday at Grace Westminster United Church in the Broadway area. The Saskatoon Symphony, in partnership with a number of arts groups, including Saskatoon Opera, presents Puccini's Tosca. The curtain goes up at 7:30 at TCU Place on Saturday. Celesta O'Lee is one of the headliners at the Saskatoon International Burlesque Festival, Friday and Saturday at the Broadway Theatre. Warren Ziders brings his Relapse, Lies, and Betrayal tour to SaskTel Centre on Saturday night. Showtime is 7:30. Saturday, the Steadies top the marquee as Amigos celebrates Music Day in Canada. Black Belt Eagle Scout is live on stage at the Broadway Theatre on Tuesday. The music starts at 7:30. Buds on Broadway welcomes back bluesman Michael Charles for a 2-night stand. That's Wednesday and Thursday.
Tom Cruise running is actually me. And you jump on a surfboard? Doing.
Friday, October 3rd, middle-aged boy band brings its improv comedy show to the Broadway Theatre. The laughs start rolling at 8 o'clock.
All right, Jeff, you were out finding out about a special concert coming up.
Yes, and I had to go back to school to find out more. We are here with Jim Gillis as well as Ashley Petit, and we are getting ready for a very special concert. And Jim, first of all, what is the title of the concert?
It's The Sound of Reconciliation.
So obviously it has a lot to do with National Truth and Reconciliation Day that is coming up here in Saskatoon, well, right across the country, of course. Why did the Rotarians want to be involved in or helping to create a concert like this?
Well, it goes back to our historical relationship really with the old St. Francis School. That's been going on for years. And when we learned that a new school was going to be built, we really got excited about it, and here we are now.
Well, here we are now, and it's a very special evening that's coming up. But I mentioned the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Obviously, that's a big part of this concert.
For sure. So we're wanting to really highlight and showcase the culture, both of the Saskatoon Nutana Rotary as well as our Indigenous culture. And so the vision and purpose for community is aligned. And so really walking that, having those conversations and walking that road to reconciliation and bringing both of those together to showcase.
And we're going to showcase them in a very special way. What can people expect when the concert takes place?
Well, there's a number of elements to the concert, but there's going to be some Indigenous dancing, both by students and professional dancers as well. The last thing that's going to happen is actually an amalgamation of music between non-Indigenous, a concert band, and Indigenous players playing at the same time, working together to produce a reconciliation sound, if I could put it that way.
Fair enough. And just before we go, when is it happening?
Our event is happening on the evening of October 2nd. You can purchase your tickets through Greater Saskatoon Catholic Schools website or Saskatoon Nutana Rotary website.
All right. Well, thank you both very much. It's going to be a terrific concert.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day, and I know you have a special montage for us.
We do indeed, and let's take a look at this very first one. And I got to say, we've had some of these in the past, but I love showing them and sharing them, and want to say thanks to Ron and Star Bassett for sending this one in. Ron Bassett sent this picture of his son, Jason Bassett, harvesting at his home near Peterson on September 22nd, the first day of fall. The amazing northern lights lit up the harvest sky. So thank you for sharing that image with us, and let's take a look at this one from Randy Benson. Randy doesn't give us a lot of details, but just simply says, come on in, the water's fine. And that elk looks like it is enjoying that water. But a great shot there. Thank you, Randy. And finally, from Sandra up at Northern Lights Gallery in Melfort. Well, in Melfort, she writes, here's a shot of the Jerry Whitehead mural that was unveiled this morning in Melfort. And then we also have a picture of Jerry with Carla Tyke, one of the Melfort artists who contributed a little bit to the mural. So a great day there in Melfort. I know this project was months in the making, maybe even longer than that, but a lovely mural there by Jerry Whitehead. So congratulations to everyone involved. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Please put Pick of the Day in the subject line.
Still to come on CTV News, a show of support. Why a group of Saskatchewan firefighters donned their sneakers in the fight against cancer.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Saskatchewan, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
A group of Yorkton firefighters recently went the distance, taking part in the Queen City Marathon. But as Regina DeClute reports, their efforts weren't for any personal glory. They went to support a teen battling cancer.
A few weeks ago, Yorkton firefighters took part in the Queen City Marathon in support of a young Yorktonian who's been struggling with a rare type of cancer.
These are to raise funds for him and his family and all the travel expenses and the expenses that come from all the procedures that has been done the past couple of years. So we try to do our part just to make a difference for him and his family.
15-year-old Ethan Petralba received his diagnosis 2 years ago.
So he has stage 4 lymphoma natural killer T cell. So all over the world is only 100 who has those kind of cancer, a very rare type.
To treat his disease, he and his family had to travel for treatment, ultimately moving away from Yorkton.
So my first move in Saskatoon was last year,
And it was pretty hard for me having to move away from my friends because I've lived in Yorkton, like most of my entire life. So having a big change all of a sudden was really hard for me.
The firefighters learned about his story through a social media post and decided to help.
Every step we take in that marathon is kind of in support of Ethan and his family, and if he can go through what he's going through as a kid, why can't we run a marathon in support of him and show that we support him as well as the community here does as well.
Ethan is currently in remission, and fall has brought him a new challenge.
I've been off school for 2 years, so coming back to school after a long time, it was overwhelming, and I was pretty nervous, but then at the same time I was excited because I haven't experienced it in a long time.
Things are looking up for the Patrol Bus, who are thankful for those who pounded the pavement and raised over $4,000 so Ethan can focus on his recovery. Fruzina Declut, CTV News, Yorkton.
When we come back, we check in with farmers in the field. And later, what's making big news with Guinness World Records.
All right, welcome back, and let's take a look and see what our rural forecast looks like. Well, it looks not too bad, at least in terms of temperatures. Now, we are anticipating some windy conditions. Some places, like Steuart, are expecting rain tomorrow. But temperature-wise, these are still essentially above seasonal temperatures. Now, not as warm as it has been. So, and not much of a range of temperatures here, basically from 16 to 19 degrees. So not much variation in that respect. But the wind will be a big factor for many communities tomorrow. And that includes places down south. And we've got ourselves 19 degrees for Leader and Maple Creek and Roseland. In fact, a whole bunch of places in at 19. It jumps into the low 20s in Coronach and Carlisle, so the extreme southern part of the province, the southeastern corner there. But wind is going to be the big deal of the day. Again, southern Saskatchewan, you can see a temperature range of just 3 degrees between 18 and 19 degrees. So let's take a look and see what's going on in Radville. Radville, one of those southern communities, 20 degrees tomorrow for a daytime high, and winds out of the northwest, 30 gusting to 50, so a windy day for Radville as well. And Radville is one of the communities where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Harvest progress was steady over the last week, but still well behind the 5-year average, with 68% of the provincial crop in the bin. Producers are furthest along in the southwest, where 80% of harvest is wrapped up. Farmers in some areas were dealing with rain and high humidity, leading to poor quality and sprouting for cereal crops still in the field. High temperatures are expected to help producers progress or finish up this week.
Had some moisture which delayed progress, but we need drier conditions now to get the hours on the combines on a daily basis. So we're well past the halfway mark and looking to see that 3/4 mark here within the next week.
Officials also say there's been an increase in machinery fires this week and remind producers to have fire suppression equipment handy, blow off their combines regularly, and take care when working around power lines. The Riders held their final practice in Regina today before traveling to Edmonton to take on the Elks. But the green and white will be without some key pieces in the secondary as they look to bounce back after suffering one of their worst losses of 2025. Donovan Mace has more.
Having already clinched a playoff spot, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are guarding themselves against complacency.
The taste that was left for us this last week and a half, yeah, we don't like that. So we got a ton of stuff to play for.
With still 5 weeks remaining in the regular season, Saskatchewan is the only team to have punched their postseason ticket. But playing a playoff game is not the goal the team set out for at the beginning of the year.
Our goal was to win the Grey Cup, and that goes by going 1-0 every single week. The longer we can go 1-0, the closer that goal comes to being achieved. So we can't be complacent.
Across from the green and white this weekend, a desperate team in green and gold.
I'm taking it as a playoff game, win or go home.
The Edmonton Elks, sitting 5th in the West, are fighting to stay in the playoff picture.
This is as close to playoff football as you can get without actually being in the playoffs. And if we lose, we're going to have to look ourselves in the mirror during the bye week and really have to find a way mathematically how we can be in the conversation. So, in my opinion, it's win or go home.
Mace says matching their opponent's desperation down the stretch of the season will keep his team focused on their goals.
At this point of the year, and certainly just kind of how, teams are jockeying for position, you're getting team's best effort, man, every week, you know what I mean? And it should be that all the time, but it's just a heightened sense of that.
Kickoff Saturday night at Commonwealth Stadium is 5 p.m. on TSN. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Starbucks is cutting jobs and closing some stores across North America as it works through a $1 billion restructure. Morella Fernandez explains.
The coffee chain will close an estimated 400 locations it says are underperforming. 900 jobs are also being cut. This is the second round of layoffs for Starbucks. A new CEO is trying to turn things around for the coffee chain, which has reported slowing sales in the U.S. for the last 6 quarters. Here's a look at how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.73. West Texas Intermediate is up to 65.20. Western Canadian Select is up $1.48 to 53.18, and the TSX dropped by 24 points today to 29,731. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon just over $1.34 a liter. The lowest price in town, $1.24.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco jumped $4 today, and Nutrien finished the day at $81.10. Coming up, Alberta airs its beef. Then some other record-setting entries that caught the eye of officials.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you all right here tonight on CTV. Well, skateboarding pigs, a custom-made banana car. And
you had me at skateboarding pigs.
I figured, and banana car. Also some extraordinary donkeys among those recognized in the 2026 Guinness Book of World Records.
So you would expect him to have really good hearing, but in my opinion, sometimes I think he's deaf, or is it just to us?
At 167 centimeters tall, Derek the donkey from the UK took home the prize for tallest living donkey, while his companion Bamboo won the title of longest ears. That's Norbert the pig, also scoring a spot, pushing a skateboard 10 meters in 11 seconds. And what started as a crazy list of things that could be turned into a car, as you've seen here, ended with the award for the longest banana car. Over 2,000 new records were added to this year's edition. So
Derek the donkey sounds like it could be the start of a children's book.
It very much could
exactly.
be. And his sidekick Bamboo.
Bamboo, exactly. Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Maybe Norbert the pig.
Well, maybe Norbert. Norbert clearly needs encouragement to do the skateboarding.
It's impressive. Only 11 seconds, though.
That's true. It's true. Very good. It's like, and a banana car. You can't go wrong. Difficult to park, but what do you want?
There you go. Okay, well, speaking of records, a Holstein from Vulcan, Alberta, also landing in the Guinness World Records as tallest, yes, we do, tallest steer in the world. Beef and his owner, Jasmine Entz, were in Calgary to celebrate the mega moment. She didn't intend to go for a record, but was a fan of the Guinness World Record books growing up, and a few years ago wondered how her pet might stack up with the competition. When the record was measured in 2023, he stood 6'5", and he's grown another 1.5 inches since then. Entz works at a dairy and wanted a calf as a pet. He was regular sized at birth, but grew a lot in 8 years. So
no kidding.
Clearly. So there you go.
That's right. That's very impressive.
Interesting indeed. Record holders. Look at that. That's a great image. Right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, without question. Yeah.
All right. Record-setting forecast? No?
Not really, but certainly warmer than seasonal. But we're not breaking any records with our temperatures. But we can tell you that tomorrow we won't break any records with the wind, but it will be troublesome in some respects because we have a sustained wind of 40 kilometers an hour, so 25 miles an hour, and gusting up to 60, and that's going to sustain itself right through the day. A little less cloud cover by the time we get to 5 o'clock, but it's going to remain windy on Friday.
Looks like it. And then decent for the weekend, 22.
Right now, the weekend is looking pretty nice, and as we head into the early part of next week, warm temperatures way above seasonal.
Looking forward to it. All right, thanks for watching.